Hello everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine a river flowing in its course. It doesn't question where it's going, nor does it fight against the rocks and twists in its path. It simply moves, adapting, changing shape as it encounters every new bend and obstacle. In much the same way, we are all rivers coursing through the flow of life. But unlike the river, we have a peculiar resistance to change. We dig in, planting ourselves into routines and familiar ways, as though any disruption would uproot the very essence of who we are. But what we often fail to see is that the inability to change is an inability to fully live. Change is not something foreign to us. It's as natural as breathing, as undeniable as aging, and as certain as the setting sun. If we cannot embrace the flow of change, we are like a river trying to run backward, denying our purpose and potential. The first step in any journey of change is awareness. Look closely at where you are, and then imagine, truly envision where you might go. Without that conscious awareness, we live in circles, repeating the same patterns, drawn to the same familiar, even when it no longer serves us. It's in recognizing this cycle that we find the freedom to step outside of it. But with this awareness comes another realization: control is an illusion. Life will not mold itself perfectly to our desires. We cannot dictate every outcome or rearrange reality to suit our whims. Yet we are not powerless. The power lies not in changing the world, but in transforming our perspective, in finding strength and growth within ourselves. If we refuse to change, it's like gripping the sand tighter in our hands, only to watch it slip through our fingers. Real change requires courage, the courage to let go of what no longer supports us, what no longer aligns with who we are becoming. When we change, we aren't losing ourselves, we are shedding the old layers, creating space for the person we are capable of becoming. Like a snake that sheds its skin, we emerge fresh, vibrant, and aligned with a more authentic version of ourselves. We might feel that the steps we take toward change are too small to matter, but nothing could be further from the truth. Every choice, every small shift of our thinking accumulates, leading us towards something larger. Transformation is not a sprint. It's the long, quiet walk of commitment. Change is not about reinventing ourselves overnight. It's about being dedicated to a process, however slow, that draws us closer to who we're meant to be. And in the end, change aligns us with a life of purpose. We no longer live merely by default, floating along, but with intention and direction. When we cannot change, we are static, we are stagnant, and we are stuck. But when we allow ourselves to transform, we become fluid, resilient, and open to life's endless possibilities. It's then that we realize our own capacity not to control everything, but to be adaptable, flexible, and wholly alive. So step into change, not as a stranger, but as a friend. Embrace it as the natural course of your being, for in doing so, you not only change your life, you live it fully. The nature of change is woven into the very fabric of existence. It's not a sudden shift or an isolated event, but rather an ongoing dynamic force that shapes everything around us and within us. Life itself is a constant unfolding, a series of transformations, some visible, some subtle, yet each leaving a mark. We often think of change as something we initiate, an act we consciously decide upon, but much of it flows beneath the surface of awareness. Seasons change without effort. Rivers carve new paths over time. Cells within our bodies renew themselves, and even our thoughts and perspectives evolve almost imperceptibly. Resistance to this natural flow often stems from fear, a desire for control, or an attachment to familiarity. However, change persists regardless of our resistance, reminding us that adaptation is not an option but an essential quality for growth. Embracing change is, in essence, aligning with life's most fundamental rhythm. Awareness is the foundation upon which any meaningful change is built. Before we can shift, grow, or transform, we must first recognize where we currently stand. Awareness is not merely a passive observation, it is an active, intentional presence with oneself. It involves tuning into the layers of our inner and outer experiences, the thoughts that drive us, the emotions we suppress, the patterns we repeat unconsciously. This level of awareness requires us to look deeply, to confront aspects of ourselves that may be uncomfortable or inconvenient, yet necessary to understand. By cultivating awareness, we begin to shine a light on our hidden motives, fears and desires, gaining insight into why we act, think, and feel as we do. It's through this clear perception that we start to see the connection between our choices and their outcomes. As we observe, we gain perspective not only on where we are, but on what we need to let go of or embrace. The illusion of control is a subtle yet pervasive force that shapes much of our daily experience. We often feel that by meticulously planning, strategizing, or analyzing, we can dictate the outcomes of our lives. This belief in control brings a sense of security, a comforting idea that we are the architects of our future. However, life frequently reveals that many factors are far beyond our reach. Unexpected events, other people's choices, and the natural ebb and flow of circumstances are all elements we cannot command. The desire for control can lead to frustration and resistance as we wrestle with the unpredictability of life. Ironically, this attempt to control often leads us further away from true peace, binding us to a cycle of fear and anxiety about what lies beyond our influence. To understand the illusion of control is to recognize that while we can influence certain aspects, we are ultimately part of a vast, interconnected whole where outcomes are shaped by countless unseen forces. This realization invites us to release the need to hold everything tightly, allowing life to unfold organically. The courage to let go is one of the most profound acts of inner strength and resilience. Letting go is often mistaken for surrender or defeat, but in truth it requires a kind of bravery that defies the instinct to cling to what is known, safe, or comfortable. We hold on to familiar ideas, relationships, and even outdated aspects of our identity because they provide a sense of continuity and predictability. Yet, holding on can prevent us from moving forward and limit our growth. To let go means facing the unknown, stepping into spaces where outcomes are unclear and control is relinquished. This process is deeply uncomfortable, as it asks us to release the attachments that have defined us, shaped our beliefs, and given us a sense of purpose, even when they no longer serve us. Courage to let go requires trust in ourselves in life and in the potential for something greater to emerge in the empty spaces that letting go creates. The power of small shifts lies in their subtle yet transformative impact over time. Often we imagine change as requiring grand gestures or radical overhauls, but true transformation frequently begins with the smallest of actions. Small shifts are accessible, they're adjustments we can make in our daily lives without feeling overwhelmed. These minor changes, whether in our thoughts, habits, or responses, create ripples that accumulate and eventually lead to profound change. For instance, altering a single habit, such as practicing gratitude daily or pausing before reacting, may seem minor at first, yet it reshapes how we experience life. Small shifts build resilience as they allow us to adapt incrementally, reducing resistance and fear. By focusing on these attainable steps, we create momentum and a foundation for greater shifts to emerge naturally. Small adjustments over time also foster self-trust, teaching us that change is possible without the need for drastic leaps. Living in alignment is the art of harmonizing our actions, values, and beliefs so they move together in a unified direction. When we live in alignment, we are guided by an internal compass that resonates with who we genuinely are, rather than by external expectations or pressures. This state of alignment is not about perfection, but about authenticity, making choices that feel true to ourselves, even if they challenge us or defy convention. Living in alignment requires self-awareness, a deep understanding of what matters most to us, and the courage to honor those priorities in our everyday lives. It means filtering out the noise of superficial goals and distractions, allowing us to focus on what brings genuine fulfillment. Alignment also invites consistency between our inner and outer worlds, fostering a sense of integrity and peace. By consistently making choices that reflect our core values, we cultivate a life that feels meaningful, purposeful, and deeply connected to our true essence.